I'm going to say something that I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me about, but here it goes. The program of love and light is actually patriarchy masked as spirituality. Hi, if you don't know me, my name is Bianca and I have the gift of seeing shadow patterns and programming that operates as an illusion in your energy, and it traps you in a false reality instead of being connected to your own internal truth and freedom. So let me explain. Just because there's this trope that's being communicated and taught in spirituality doesn't mean that this is actually true. There's programming in spirituality too, and that manipulates who and what people think spirituality looks and acts like, and what is considered to be spiritual and not spiritual. So I see the conditioning of love and light to be very, very problematic, especially for women, because it mirrors a lot of the same programming that the system of the patriarchy. The conditioning of love and light actually lacks a lot of emotional maturity and emotional capacity. What it's doing is that it's not honoring your own inner authority and your own inner instinct. And it's really telling you, and women specifically, to bypass and gaslight yourself on certain emotions based on what is acceptable or what is perceived as an agreeable emotion. Really, this narrative actually teaches people and encourages women to suppress emotions for the sake of being seen as enlightened or spiritual. So it is really conditioned gaslighting of the human experience and out of our own emotional truth. Conditioning of love and light really says things like, if you were evolved, you wouldn't feel that. If you were spiritual, you would just rise above that emotion. Newsflash, just because we're pretending to not have an emotion doesn't actually make us enlightened. It just means that we're being controlled. All emotions are actually valid, and all emotions are actually meant to be felt. It is our response to the emotions that need to come from an enlightened place, but not the emotion itself. Love and light is actually just prettier language that's telling us to control essentially the way that we feel. And when we control the way that we feel, we become disconnected from our own anger and our own threshold of tolerance and our own boundaries. We are disconnected from our own ability to process the depths and the range of all of our emotions because they're not being seen as agreeable. We're disconnected from our instincts, from our inner authority, from our own inner guidance and own discernment. We are disconnected from holding other people accountable who violate our boundaries for the sake of appearing enlightened or above it all. And guess what? A woman who's disconnected from our boundaries, our instinct, our ability to express our emotions is easier to manage, control, and is more palatable. So women comply more in this conditioning instead of honoring our own truth, our own inner guidance, our own inner freedom, what is valid and appropriate to us, and our own discernment. This is patriarchy. It means that we have to be agreeable, to not express all our emotions because that isn't enlightened. It isn't spiritual to say that we are angry or we have rage or that we're sad. Love and light tells us to prioritize harmony over truth, and that is not actually spirituality. Real spirituality requires discernment, connection to our own inner guidance, our own emotional range, and to be fully free and sovereign within ourselves, we have to be connected to what is true to us. Spiritual maturity is actually understanding that the balance is not actually love and light. Love and light is out of balance. The true balance is actually love and truth. Love being the feminine and truth being the masculine. That is the true balance of enlightenment.